Greetings, this is Greg. I'm installing a record Monza exhaust on my Fiat 124. A lot of talk about this exhaust on the internet and Fiat circles, so now that I actually have one here, I thought I'd cover a few things. The standard rear exhaust on the Fiat 124 is a Mopar unit. It's made primarily out of 409 stainless, and there's nothing particularly wrong with it. It just doesn't sound as aggressive as I would like. So I ordered the record Monza unit from Benson, Fiat, and Alfa Romeo, and they sent it out to me almost right away. It's a nice unit. I want to say it's probably great for somebody that wants the Abarth name on their exhaust, and it has the coolness factor of being a factory performance part. I wouldn't say it's necessarily superior in terms of performance to some of the better units on the aftermarket. I'll give you a quick tour of it. This pipe here is a 2-inch pipe, and from there it goes into this piping complex here. And when the valve is in the normal driving position, then the exhaust will go through this pipe, which is 1.5-inch diameter. So it goes from 2-inch down to 1.5, fairly small pipe, then through the muffler and out through the outboard exhaust tips. Now, when you're driving in a more spirited fashion, exhaust flow is sufficient to open up this valve here. And then exhaust goes into two 1 3/4-inch pipes and exits the inboard tips. So that's the idea of how it works. It's reasonably well made. I wouldn't say it's stellar. The whole thing, like the standard Mopar unit, is 409 stainless. It's not 304. The muffler, I thought, looking at it, it might be 304, but no, it's not. Interestingly, these hangers are 304. But as far as I can tell, that's the only thing on it that is actually 304 stainless. The rest of it's 409. Nothing wrong with that. 409 will tarnish, but it doesn't really ever rust out. It'll certainly last effectively as long as the car. My only concern for reliability is looking at the mechanism here that controls the dual modes. It seems a little flimsy, and that spring seems a little weak. I'm not condemning it at this point. Probably works fine, but I guess I won't know how it holds up for a while. It's probably okay. So in any case, I think it's a legitimately decent product. I do not think that it's necessarily superior to the better aftermarket units. I do think it has a little bit more coolness factor though, and I think it looks really neat with all the pipes snaking around. Interestingly, in weight, it is identical to the Mopar unit. The Mopar unit is 25 pounds, 25 1/4 pounds, and this one is also 25 1/4 pounds. So I guess they gained enough weight in piping to make up for the massive difference in muffler. As far as installation goes, easy peasy. There's 2 bolts that connect it to the mid pipe and some hangers, and that's all. So I'm going to shut off the camera and we'll show you it once it's installed on the car. Okay, so the record Monza is on the car. You can recognize the record Monza. If you look down closely, the tips look almost identical to the standard setup, but if you look closely, you can see that each tip has its own pipe. They don't merge into one pipe as it does with the standard exhaust. Yeah, we'll look underneath the car here, and you can see the shiny muffler with the, I'm not sure if you can see it there, but the scorpion and the Abarth script is visible, and the pipes are all down there. Now this is made pretty well. Oh, let me show you how it hooks up. That's pretty easy. You can see the 2 bolts there we talked about, and then the hangers are, you can kind of see it there. It's hard to get the light on it, but there's some hangers that support it. Now, it's not perfectly made. If you take a look at this tip and see how it's located relative to the cutout, and then this tip and see how it's located relative to the cutout, they're not exactly symmetrical. It's a little bit lower on this side, and I've read on the internet other people have made the same comments, so I thought maybe it was damaged in shipping, but it's not. There's no sign of damage other than a very small dent on this pipe way up here. and that's not enough to affect the geometry of it. So I think that's pretty normal. These things have to be shipped twice. When you order it, it gets shipped to the dealer, and then the dealer ships it to you. So greater chance of it being damaged. But this one wasn't damaged. That's just how it's made. Now, an interesting thing that I think a lot of people don't know about the record Monza, in fact, earlier in this video, I misspoke because I didn't fully understand it because I hadn't put it on the car yet. Exhaust comes out of all four pipes all the time. The valve only affects the degree to which the exhaust bypasses the muffler. In other words, the inboard tips bypass the muffler, and even at idle, some exhaust is coming out of the inboards. Now, as you have more and more power, more exhaust comes out of the inboards relative to the outboards. But there is never a time when that valve causes all of the exhaust to go either through the muffler or to bypass the muffler. So what the valve does is affects the tone. This exhaust gets sort of a unique sound to it because it mixes unmuffled with muffled exhaust, and it sounds great. So while I may sound a little bit critical of the fit and the lack of 304 stainless, the bottom line is 409 is good enough. It's going to last forever. The exhaust fits perfectly in terms of mounting up to the car, and it sounds fantastic, and I really like this exhaust. In terms of performance, it doesn't do anything, but then again, I don't think that any rear exhaust only on this car will do anything, and I'll probably be misquoted on that at some point. I'm not saying that no exhaust mods on this car increase power, but I am saying that a rear exhaust only on this car doesn't increase power. We've dynoed it, and we don't see any measurable difference between this and the stock one, and that's on a pretty souped up car. So anyhow, thanks for watching, and I hope everyone's having a great day.